Hello, traders. It's Dale Pinkert. Traders call me coach. I don't know if it's because of my age or what I know about markets. We'll see. So I want to start off with S&Ps, which made new record highs. It's been such a tremendous run with all the negative breadth indicators and everything saying the market is not healthy. It's mainly being carried by the names that I talked about over the last several weeks, especially what's Apple finally made a new high. I know we'll get to FX in a minute because there is an important development in Euro, but Apple, for example, busted out for new highs. But you know what I do sometimes when markets continue to move in a direction I'm looking for a high, I have to ask myself, and here's a daily. So Apple's the largest market cap on the board, and the divergence is much more dramatic than it is, say, for example, in NASDAQ on the daily. The S&P still has pretty good negative divergence, but when you even really break out your telescope and you look at a weekly chart on Apple, you could see how we have some interesting wedge lines that I could draw here. But back under this level of 140 is going to be a real negative signal. Also, Microsoft has been carrying the day for the FANGs and the MAGA stocks, and new high in Microsoft is going to diverge. It might be a little over 70, but also the 4 hour could diverge, and it looks like, may not even be able to make a new high. I think that a reaction in the market and a correction in the market is so close, I could taste it in here. So taking a look on what's really been carrying the market, Netflix too, that's down. Google's trying to make new highs. You have Facebook that ran up and made new highs and did not diverge on a 4 hour, but I believe the daily did. See, we're not making new highs in momentum along with new highs in Facebook. So I want to get back to, what could end up saving this rally. Euro, we talked about yesterday, 1810 being a big level, and 1810 it was. We had a straight line across the euro at 1810, and here we go. So just a horizontal line here at this 1810 level. You could tell that we, probed it, took it out. 1800, 1810. The euro, if you're still long from some of the calls that were made for the dollar top in a week or so ago, and I'm, talking about 119 being possible, I think it's going to be important for the euro not to reverse today. And a little bit of risk off might just do it. NASDAQ's now down 36, S&P's down 8. I really think that's a feature that's going to drive the dollar now, is risk on, risk off. And I think that's why we're coming off, because the S&Ps are selling off again. So, the headline or the title for this video is Turnaround Tuesday. I want to talk a little bit about Turnaround Tuesday and why it is a phenomena that happens, because maybe you'll start noticing this, that say, for example, you have a strong weekly close, which we certainly did in the S&Ps. Here's last week, big blue candle into new high ground. And what usually happens is when you have a strong week like that, you get follow through on Monday, and then the best chance for reversal usually is Tuesday, Wednesday. That's why you have turnaround Tuesdays. So we're not that much higher on the week anymore in the S&P. So we'll see what happens. And NASDAQ really had a spectacular day yesterday, and compared to the S&Ps, it got up to 70 or even a little above. But look at where the RSI is in NASDAQ, and then look at the S&Ps. So the S&Ps didn't get close to 70. So right now they're still the weak sister, which shows you how NASDAQ's carrying the day with those FANG stocks and MAGA stocks I talked about. So dollar continuing its downside, trying to put in some type of reversal day. I remain negative. I still think we're going to trade between here and 90, 80. before there's a move back to the upside. So, but everything can happen, especially in this type of environment, geopolitical things happening. We have still issues with COVID. There's a lot of different pots boiling on the stove. But one thing I think that is developing, I'm starting to think that yields are not heading up. It's a coin toss. So if that's the case, we should get a break in the end back under 108. It's a type of trade now you could look for sells, and if you really want to give it breathing room, you do it over Friday's high. So the yen had a similar day on Friday that the dollar did, but the dollar still is weaker. Here's the yen. See, he hasn't taken out these lows, and here's a dollar. We took out these lows by a mile. So dollar trying to dig in its heels, and I still am going to give the dollar the benefit of the doubt that we're still heading lower. I think we're almost halfway through it. 91's another 150 pips in the Dixie. If that happens, I think there's still a pretty good shot for us to trade up towards 119 and a half to 120 in the euro. So it didn't look that way when we were buying it here, but probably starting to get some more company, and some of the dollar bulls are getting squeezed. So I think we'll at least take these stops out before we have a resumption of a downtrend in euro. Pound is a little bit weaker. EG still, acting okay as long as we stay above this 85.40. You have to give the long side of EG the benefit of the doubt. Canadian trying to hold. Looks like this is an important area, and if the dollar does go, this is one of the best performing dollar pairs. Much bigger move to the upside than I think a lot of people expected when we were talking about it lower, and that's with crude coming back. So let's take a look at the energy market. I was surprised to see it take out the support at 65.15. Okay, so looking at it 65.15, we broke down, then negated the breakout, and perhaps we're headed here. So I really don't have a good opinion on what to do here at this point in the market. Starting to look like perhaps where you have some type of head shoulders bottom developing here. So let's just go with the horizontal line here and watch and see if crude could fill out and give some symmetry to what it did to the left, which would take it back down towards the breakout, back down towards 65. That'd be an interesting zone to try and buy it. But I really think what is the most contrarian trade, let's face it, and I know because I've had my teeth kicked in a few times trying to top pick it, the boy who cried wolf. I thought we had a high when we were here. Okay. Then I thought we had a top here. So there were nice breaks. You could have made money being short, but it never broke the uptrend. In fact, if you don't have the 50-day moving average on your S&Ps, and I keep coming back to them because obviously that's it's a little more interesting here, a potential significant high in the market, a little more interesting than maybe another 100 pips or so in the euro to the upside, and that should really kind of cushion any kind of sell-off that you get, is because when the dollar turns up again, that's going to take some of the air out of the balloon of other things, like commodities. Speaking of commodities, the gold, if you look at what it did yesterday, it tried to peak at this moving average up here at this 1812 level. So this is pretty important level. I thought we might be able to get up towards 1830, still looking okay. And being, neutral to negative yen, I think you could sell the yen here. In fact, I'm going to post it. I think you could sell the yen right here. And copy. So what I'm doing right now is I'm posting a trade in our main chat. And that way, if you're here and I'm not I'm not live streaming, you could be updated with my thoughts and suggestions about what might happen in the market. Hold on. I think you can risk 50 on this, risk 50 pips. That would be, just a little bit shy of the high on Friday. So look at this high. You don't want to be short if we start taking out the reversal on Paul's speech when he was in Jackson Hole. And, it's a similar situation, dollar, same type of candle. In fact, it came right to the 93.20 false breakout, false breakdown. So dollar, is weaker. It's a weak sister compared to the yen, but I think the yen's going to come off, starting to get a little bit more pressure on the downside here in NASDAQ. It's going to take a lot for the NASDAQ to reverse, but not as much in the S&Ps. For it to start going lower on the week, we need 45.11. We're only 10 handles away, but to have a 2-week reversal, it's all the way down here. You can write the number down at 44.41.5. So, we're about 80 handles away on a Tuesday from getting a 2-week reversal. But I'll tell you, once it starts to move, it's going to move. And again, we have the VIX putting in a higher low, even after yesterday's record close. So we continue to make higher lows, right? Here's a low, here's a higher low, another rally, another higher low. So you could really, if you do anything in VIX, you could really have a tight stop, either give it breathing room under 1430 or under this low. In fact, even today's action didn't fill that gap. So we'll see what happens there. Copper, we had that head and shoulders top and it held the moving average, but this is kind of a weak bounce to me. It kind of looks like oil does after it recovered. We've recovered from, deeply oversold levels. Look at the RSI reading on the daily was under 30. And if I went to shorter time frames, you'll see how weak it really was on the 4-hour. So, this usually isn't indicative of a long-lasting bottom that just came out of the hole and really had no divergence. Okay, so just a risk-on move that we had here. Looking at what's happening in some of the outside markets, a lot of people like commodities, and we're selling off in commodities into the harvest. You could actually say that you have some type of breakdown on the verge happening in soybeans here. Wheat's been the relative strength leader. See how much closer to the high it is, and then corn. But this is the type of thing that you would get the harvest low coming in October. So that's a possibility that we have this harvest low coming in the next several minutes. And here you go, Ethereum's still rocking. I know a guy who, John Nettle, who's in Jack Schwager's book, who talked big numbers, liked it at 17, looking for 7K by year, and that would be quite a blow off. I'm looking at some other markets that I think are going to matter, and that's the debt markets. So what's interesting is high yield debt is pressing the highs, while corporate debt, which is a higher grade of debt, is putting in lower highs. And I think this is a big part of the bubble. This is corporate America's margin account, where they borrowed money, not for building new plants and equipment, some of it, but mainly financial engineering. You have financial engineering when you have stock buybacks, and also increase the dividends, especially stock buybacks. So that's a big part of what they did with the money, or the airlines would not have gone to the US government asking for a bailout if they had used and saved for a rainy day instead of doing buybacks. And, That's something that did come up in the midst of the pandemic. So just a quick review, I remain, even though it's a turnaround Tuesday, positive. The euro, it's above 1810. You always have to protect yourself. So I don't think we should trade back under 1750. Remember, that was also a big pivot, the 1750 level. So, you know, you could even protect it with stops under 1810. I actually would not like to see the market close back under this level because it could open the door for a bigger pullback, and I'll reassess. So if you're long, it could go 1805 stop from where we talked about yesterday. So, and take something. You know, it's always, you know, let's talk about money management. You never go broke taking profits. So I'm a big believer in taking partial profits, just in case it doesn't turn into a runner or attain the objectives that you see and you get paid, and then reducing risk on the remainder by going to break even and then ideally a profit stop. So the big day again is going to be Friday, another big Friday with the NFP, like last Friday was big with Powell. Numbers are going to be pretty important here, and you know, we'll see. I think the market's looking for about 680,000 increase on the NFP, and a strong number definitely would clear up where rates are going. But we might get a little weaker. That gives the Fed a little bit more time, buys them some more time. I'll leave you with the NASDAQ down 51. So the potential of a little reversal day in the NASDAQ after having achieved 70. Remember yesterday I said, look how glaring it is. And then we had yesterday's explosion. And now you still with the naked eye could tell that it's not it's not confirming for sure, right? So, you know, we've been diverging. The last confirmed high on this time frame, which is a daily, was July 7th. So we're a month and a half of the market making consecutive new highs without confirming an RSI. And eventually this lack and loss of momentum will translate into some lower prices. And the S&Ps, that you showed even more, because this didn't get back to 70. This you could still see glaring divergence with the naked eye. So, you know, never, like I said about partial profits, you never go broke taking profits. If you've been fortunate enough to still be riding the select equities, which are carrying the majority of the market, I think there's probably a lot of people out there that are saying, hey, the market's making record highs every day. Well, how come my account isn't going up? Because of the narrowness of the advance. You know, if you're not in, you know, the 12 horsemen that are holding up the market. You know, airlines are down. The reopening trade got hit. The energy trade got hit. With rates being questionable, banks are coming off again. So what are they going to rotate into next? I'm not quite sure what they'll rotate. Maybe the gold miners by the end of the year. So that's a wrap. Remember, everyone, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and again, mark it on your calendar. If you want to hear a contrarian voice, Thursday, the interview with Henrik Zeberg is exactly what you're looking for. I like to bring in both sides of the argument, and he's one of the remaining few deflationists out there. And then he's looking for huge moves to the upside in gold. But I think it's going to surprise you what he has to say. So I'll see everyone tomorrow. Let's see if the euro can hold that 1810 level, 18 even into the close. Let's see if the S&Ps and NASDAQ can avoid a reversal day. And this would be a classic turnaround Tuesday reversal day. So everyone, good hunting. It's our mission to build up traders and edify them every day. I want to invite everyone to come in and join us here in TradeGateHub.com. I appreciate the views. Looks like more people are interested in some of my views and how I look at the market. I hope it's adding value to what you're trying to accomplish as a trader, which is not an easy job. In fact, when I was a rookie, a veteran pulled me aside. So before I had my membership at the CME, and I was just had passed my Series 3, and I was going to try my hand at being a commodity broker. And he pulled me aside and said, "Kid, this is a tough way to make an easy buck." And he certainly was was correct. So we know that it really takes a lot of time and work and energy and effort to learn how to control your psychology and have a good method. And one of the best methods I've seen for a stock trader is right here at TradeGate Hub with Michael Venezia. And you could come in and see his process in the morning, or in fact, even on our YouTube page, have an interview with Mike and how he preps himself for the market every day. He's been riding this bull move and rotating like the market's rotating. And I think that if you're interested in the stock market, that you can learn a lot from Michael. And with that being said, take care, enjoy the rest of the day. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll see what happens here with the market this week. See if we could actually end up with some type of reversal week, but that would take, another 80 handles to the downside in S&Ps. So good hunting. The headline of this video is Turnaround Tuesday SPX in the crosshairs. So good luck today, everyone. This is Dale Pinkert at www.tradegatehub.com, and I'll see you all tomorrow.